Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for senior Taliban leaders, accusing them of crimes against humanity for the persecution of women in Afghanistan. In a landmark statement, ICC judges said there are reasonable grounds to suspect that Taliban Supreme Leader Haibatullah Akhundzada and Chief Justice Abdul Hakim Haqqani committed the crime of persecution on gender grounds. The Hague-based court says that since the Taliban seized power in August 2021, girls and women in Afghanistan have been systematically stripped of basic rights and freedoms, including access to education, family life, privacy, and freedom of movement. The court notes that while broader restrictions were placed on the population, women and girls were targeted by reason of their gender, adding that some individuals were also persecuted based on their sexuality or gender expression. The ICC has no enforcement power of its own and relies on member states to carry out arrests. If enforced, the warrants could deter travel ban by Taliban leaders to any ICC member country where they risk being detained. The warrants cover crimes committed between August 15, 2021, the day the Taliban returned to power, and January 20, 2025. The court says the persecution has been ongoing and constitutes one of the most serious crimes under international law. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Peter Baum. Thank you, Peter, for staying with us. Given the ICC's lack of enforcement power, how likely is that these warrants will lead to actual arrests or change any situation for women in Afghanistan?
Yeah, frankly, I don't think the ICC, whatever credibility it had, is losing credibility virtually week by week. More and more countries are who were once supportive of that institution are no longer supportive. And frankly, what's going on in Afghanistan recently is not going to make the plight of Afghan women any easier. Only in the last couple of days, we've seen something like 400,000 Afghans being deported from Iran, and only a month ago we saw something like double that number of Afghans being deported from Pakistan. For reasons that are beyond me, no mainstream media outlet has picked up on either of those two stories. It's quite incredible. Meanwhile, all the time in Afghanistan, women are continuing to be treated not even as second-class citizens, but as third and fourth-class citizens, and their plight is getting desperately worse. I do not see this organisation, this court, this parrot of a court, having any influence whatsoever on how the Taliban are going to conduct their affairs in the foreseeable future.
Thank you very much, Peter Baum, for joining us and sharing your insight as a foreign editor at Weekly Bliss all the way from London.
My pleasure. Thank